Up next on the Penguin Business Beat, Courtney Young speaks with head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll, about his unique coaching philosophy.
Pete, thanks for talking to me today. I just want to jump right into it and talk about your new book, Win Forever. Why don't you go ahead and tell me what you mean when you talk about winning forever?
Well, winning forever is something that we'd all like to do. We'd all like to be successful and kind of win from now on. And the thought came years ago, inspired by something that happened in an NFL game when I had noticed that the Buffalo Bills had won so many years in a row. And after having a good fortune in beating them in our opening game of the year, I looked back and realized that on their wall they had posted year after year after year after division championships. And I thought about the importance of showing the consistency and the ability to win over a long period of time. And it kind of that thought about Win Forever started then. Win Forever really took on tremendous meaning to us in our program at USC when it started to live for maximizing your potential, being the very best you could be. I think if you're in the process of being the very best you can be, then you are winning, and you have a chance, if you maintain that mentality and approach, that you can be a consistent winner over a long period of time. And so that's kind of where it all started.
What led you to decide to make it into a book?
Well, actually, inspired to do a book based on our efforts to raise money for our foundation in Los Angeles, A Better LA, in an effort to try and find ways to support the work that our guys do in the streets in the inner cities of Los Angeles. We thought that a book might help us, and so that's where the inspiration came from. So the book is written to tell the story of where our philosophy came from.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about A Better LA. What is the group up to right now?
Well, our group started years ago in an effort to try and help save lives in the inner city of Los Angeles and try to decrease the violent crimes issues that were going on in LA that were so huge. We started a nonprofit with the thought of getting very inside of the communities in Los Angeles, reaching to the guys that were really involved in the heavy-duty activities and seeing if we couldn't give them an opportunity to change their vision for their own life and the people that they connected with, and see if we could help them quiet down some of the terrible things that have been going on. And we've seen such tremendous progress and success that we really feel very, very good about what we've been doing and somewhat of the leadership position we've taken in the communities to keep awareness up, to keep the dialogue going, to work with law enforcement from the Sheriff's Department to LAPD to probation to community-based organizations in every direction that we can to generate a real movement of concern and help. We feel very good about the work that's being done. It's a big job. We have a big effort to raise money, and really the work that people do and their efforts to buy our books will actually save lives in Los Angeles.
From all the work you've been doing with A Better LA, how has it affected the philosophy you talk about in the book?
Well, we've utilized the exact same approach in our work in the inner city. Our thought is that before you can really make things turn and change, you have to create a vision for yourself of what you want to create. And once that vision is set and you've decided on it and agreed upon it, then from that point forward, it's about staying in a consistent connection in a disciplined manner of what that vision means to you. If you hold on to your vision and you don't back off and you don't give way to it, then you can create whatever it is that you desire. We did that at USC with our football program in a huge way. And as we talked to the young kids in the neighborhoods, it's the same thought about let's come to a point, let's see how far we can take it, let's see how we can maximize the potential that we have in the setting that we're in, and then not back off of that vision until we actually see it come to life.
You're listening to the Penguin Business Beat. For more information about the show, visit www.portfolioimprint.com. And now back to Pete Carroll, author of the new book, Win Forever. There's a lot to be learned from your book about leading kids and coaching players. How much of it do you think is applicable to a business setting?
I find all of the time when I visit with groups from upper-level management, CEOs, government officials, and armed forces officials, that not everybody has figured out what their philosophy is all about and what their approach is. I really kind of get on the aggressive almost attack on the people that I speak with about if you want to be really good at something, you got to know what you're all about. And you have to go through this process of learning who you are, what your philosophy is, so that, one, you can recreate it and give yourself a chance to be consistently successful, but also so that you can help the people around you understand what you're all about as a leader. It doesn't matter whether you're in football or any sport, or whether you're running a family or running a school. You have to get your act together. You got to go through and do some work to figure out what's important to you. Once you do that, then you set in motion through vision and through a disciplined follow-up to change and adjust things to maximize the potential that you have. It's been common for us to talk with business types and found a very easy language that transfers from really the football field to the inner city to the business world.
Your book draws many lessons from your approach to coaching at USC. How much of what you learned there do you think is applicable to your new role with the Seahawks?
Well, we're going to find out. That's one of the points in the book, is that we show where we came from and what we developed in the program that we designed at USC, and ask our readers to go along with us as we enter into the NFL and the great challenges of the highest level of game of football. Our reader will have a good insight. They'll understand what happened at USC, and they'll really be able to go hand in hand with us as we go down through the challenges.
Are you worried that laying out your whole philosophy in such detail is going to give your opponents unfair advantage?
So I'm not worried about that. I was never worried about having people come to our practices, and I'm not worried about that because everybody's philosophy is their own, and it's a very personal thing, and I don't expect people could carry out exactly the one that I have. The idea is to create your own, to bring out what best exemplifies who you are and what you're all about. That's really one of the main focuses in the book, is to help our people do that. In that, it becomes your own. Pretty hard to be somebody else.
In your book, you talk a lot about the tremendous impact that Coach John Wooden actually had on your coaching philosophy.
He passed away just this past weekend, and I had a chance to visit with him 2 weeks ago, and he was weak, but he was bright and sharp still, and he just had so much to offer the world. Long before I ever met Coach, I knew his story growing up in California about his success at UCLA, and when reading his book in the spring of 2000, it hit me right between the eyes. I was reading this passage that talked about in his 16th year at UCLA, he won his first national championship, and I slammed the book shut, knowing the rest that he won 10 of the next 12 national championships and retired just about unbeatable. Knowing that Coach was so unique and had his own philosophy and had his own way of doing things and distinctly clear about what was important to him, separated him from everyone. And he knew himself so well and was able to transfer that to his players and his coaches, that they just reached a level of achievement that nobody could match. That very moment, when I slammed the book shut, the inspiration and the epiphany was there. I needed to get my own world together and get my act together and figure out what was most important to me and put everything I could possibly draw together to draw up the program that would best exemplify what I was all about. And so that's what happened. I owe so much to Coach. In the next couple of years at USC, Coach used to speak on campus at SC. And I got to meet him and hang out with him, and from that point we developed a relationship that lasted on to his passing. He inspired me then. He continues to inspire me now and others, around us. And we're very fortunate to have had a chance to know him.
Thanks so much. I'm now going to pass you along to Laura Clark for a few more questions.